that having been said, this is a year and a time to say, to close doors on your past and let chapters of your life fall away. Excuse me. For example, let's suppose you've been in some particular employment and there's been something whispering to you from your soul that you just know in your heart of hearts. It's what God's asking you to do. It's what your soul is dreaming or has dreamed for years and years of doing. But you thought, I don't have the money, I don't have the contacts, how will I ever do that? Bump-a-dup-a-dup. The song goes on and on and on and on and on. This is a year where that opportunity is there. This could very well be the year to take and make the leap of faith and know that the divine will source and empower that. And if it's coming from your ego or from your world of selfish desire, then you may very well step on a rake and feel the thwack of the rod against your forehead, which in turn is a good thing too. So, but that again is a great vehicle for discernment. For when you are in alignment with God's will, you will experience only ease, grace, and flow. Because God consciousness, or Christ consciousness, I define the six-pointed star. If you see the six-pointed star and slice the horizontal line through the middle, separating heaven and earth, Christ consciousness is the three higher points, are a consciousness of peace, love, and joy, which then always manifests in the physical realm through ease, grace, and flow. And when you are experiencing and exhibiting these six attributes, it's fairly safe to say you're in alignment with God's will. So, be very clear and be very sure in and of what you are calling forth. Look at your motive and your intention. Am I calling forth something or staking a claim to fulfill another selfish desire, personal want, for fame, for gain, for notoriety, for vanity, for money? Or am I calling this forth simply to seek, to experience, to express my divinity, to feel closer to God, to feel the love of God flowing through me? And naturally the latter description is of what I'm speaking. The former is simply a recipe for more suffering in this or any year. So, the same is true of relationships. If you've been waffling and staying in one for all the wrong reasons, or not entering one out of fear, intimidation, unworthiness, lack of courage, there's an opening here to say, that says to you, you may claim this now. There is divine company and empowerment and inspiration moving with you in this direction. This is the year to be the phoenix. Rise from your own ashes. The phoenix births itself from the decay of its own former self and rises up. So watch and see how this plays out in your life. Watch and see the opportunities and the windows of opportunity that are presented for the very same. And for God's sake, take a chance. Take a chance and jump. What's the worst that could happen? Fall? Is there anyone here who's never fallen before? Either in the physical sense or in the spiritual sense? Notice my hand isn't in the air. Better to take a bold step and fall than to take no step and judge. And chances are, when your motive is pure, and your heart is filled with love and hope and praise, you won't fall. If you would have but the faith of a mustard seed. I often describe the dynamic between God and his beloveds, his children, as God sitting on one side of the Grand Canyon and God's children on the other side. And God's children living in the experience of what they believe to be separateness from their Creator, their beloved. We're saying, God, just show me, just prove to me unequivocally that you are who you are, that your word is real, that I will not fall. Just give me a sign, just show me and prove to me, and I'll jump 1,000 times, I'll jump. Without a parachute, without anything. And God's on the other side reaching out saying, just jump and I'll get you. As I always have, as I always will. Well, who do you think has to give first? And the irony is God's always sending signs and always sending help. But people hedge and leverage in such fear because they've allowed their 5 base and most basic senses to convince them that the material world is real when it is illusion. So many of us have allowed our minds to convince us that that which we see, hear, smell, taste, touch is real. And therefore, when divinity speaks, it's not believed. And God's saying, forget that. Forget what you've seen and forget what your teachers have told you and your lovers and spouses and friends and family members. Just listen to me. So you might say this is a year to make some leaps of faith in the ways and manners that I've spoken and sourced by the elements that I've described. You will see, I promise it will pay off. And then there'll be some of you in the room who will tell me a year from now, well, you might say that I jumped, but I really feel like I was pushed off the edge of the cliff. There are, I won't name names, but I can see you in the room. There are 3 of you in particular who have a very profound experience of that, and 6 who will speak of it for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. Will say, no, I didn't jump, I was pushed, I had no say. Then I will say in return, lucky for you. Consider yourself lucky that God made a preemptive strike in your behalf, on your behalf and in your favor. But you'll be happy anyway. God is not so much concerned how you come, only that you come.